Hey everyone, today we are going to be talking about the 7 stages of grieving a breakup. You may have heard of the stages of grieving, but how does this really apply to your own personal breakup? A couple things that you may want to know is that we all grieve a little bit differently, and sometimes we grieve a breakup and experience multiple stages at one time. So sometimes it can be kind of a stage by stage process. Sometimes you're experiencing different stages at once. And my job today is just to educate you a little bit about what I see as a breakup coach working with some really great clients who are going through a tough time. Hopefully this will help you understand and connect a little bit more in this process. So let's get started. Stage 1 is answer seeking. So if you've ever gone through, and I'm sure you have, this period where you're just completely consumed by looking for answers, maybe you thought you guys were going to be together for a really long time, so you're just trying to figure out every single possible explanation for why things happened the way that they did. You might say, why did he or she tell me she loved me when obviously she didn't? Like, how could this be? And maybe you're even looking for ways to figure out like what external factors contributed to this. Regardless, like you may find yourself completely consumed in studying the other person. Is there something wrong with them? What's going on with them? And it's the focus is so on them and asking questions. You may also find that you are driving your friends and family bonkers in this time because they're drained of their energy and their empathy, unfortunately, because they're trying to keep up with how fast your brain is processing all of this in this stage. So once we move on from this particular stage, then we're moving on to our second stage, which is denial. And you may be very familiar with denial because we've all been in conversations with people who have somewhat contradictory experiences or feelings or conversations just about how they feel and think about their ex-partner. So they may be in complete denial that the breakup is even happening. They may be just finding ways or excuses for why that person can't be with you. You may continuously say like, I know they love me, I know they love me, I know they love me. And it might be true, don't get me wrong, it might still be true. But you may start creating all these excuses for why they don't want to be with you right now. And you're kind of convinced here that the breakup, like I said, has not quite ended. You're feeling really unwilling to kind of accept what happened. So you're very aware that like even though you had the breakup conversation, even though you two maybe have even moved out of the apartment you two were living in, that there's still this likelihood that you're going to get back together. So that's stage 2. That's denial. Then we move fluidly into stage 3, which is bargaining. Bargaining is a really interesting stage, and I say that because all of a sudden you find yourself thinking that you're like the relationship breakup god and that you can officially fix every single thing that happened because you're now convinced that you are the one responsible for everything that happened that led to the downfall of the relationship. So you might think to yourself that you're having these moments of absolute clarity and you're like, I get it. I just wasn't an attentive, understanding partner and maybe I didn't appreciate their quirks. And now that I know this, I'm going to be there for them. I'm going to be that person that they need me to be, and I'm going to be there for them every step of the way. So you're convinced that you start sharing with your friends and family that you're thinking straight, you've got this, you really understand, and you're putting 200% of the responsibility and what happened that led to the downfall. It's now officially all on you, and now you can suddenly fix it and reestablish the relationship again. You may also find yourself writing these like very long letters or emails in this case to your partner explaining where you take responsibility and how you can fix it and how things would be different. And so here that brings us to stage 4, setbacks or a relapse. Let's say you do write that letter and or perhaps you just send a text message being like, I really need to talk to you. It's important. you finally get yourself to meet with that person agrees to see you, and then you start convincing them why you're great for each other again. And then you end up having, a moment of makeup. So maybe you are intimate with each other, or you fall back into that routine again, and so you relapse. And then when everything is all said and done, and again, this person that you're with may have even said that they really still love you and they missed you. But once the deed is done, all of a sudden they're like, no, we're still broken up. And then you're perplexed, you're completely confused as to, wait a minute, didn't we just have a conversation and we even made up? Like, we just talked about it. How are we still broken up? Which leads us into our 5th stage, which is anger. And I have to say, this is kind of the best stage of the grieving process. And I say that because it's kind of this first time that you realize that you've been putting the focus the entire time on your partner, your ex-partner, and how they were so great and how you guys are meant to be together and how you take responsibility for how you treated them. And then all of a sudden, this stage kind of reverses things, and then you notice where you fall into this equation. You start getting angry because you realize that you also didn't get things that you needed in that relationship, but that you are also important. So as a result of having this really, really deep emotion that you're experiencing, which is anger, you're now just completely realizing that you matter in this equation. So once we actually acknowledge that, then this is a really good thing. As uncomfortable as anger is, it's so important to recognize that this is now going to be the first time that you're really realizing where you are in this equation. Stage 6 is surrendering, or what we might call initial acceptance. You're surrendering, you're kind of realizing, I tried to get them back, I tried to do everything I could, I expressed myself, I thought through things, I took accountability, I even went to them and tried to get back together, and they still didn't want me. And so you're now kind of surrendering because you're realizing that that's kind of the only thing you can do at this time. You kind of need to accept the facts and kind of surrender because you have to. You don't really want to, but you're kind of thinking that you ran through everything that you could, and now you just need to surrender to what's going on. So now you start to kind of think, all right, well, maybe I won't expect them to text me anymore. Maybe I don't expect them to want to get back together with me. So this kind of initial acceptance starts to seep in. And so this is a really good thing, and this means that we're getting kind of closer to the finale of the grieving process. So last but not least, the 7th stage is finding that hope again. So finding hope, it's so beautiful because this whole time you've been going through this deep sadness and confusion and anger and this wide range of emotion. And here we are now, having gone through everything we've gone through. Now you're starting to really experience that clarity, that hope, and that everything might actually be okay for you. That life can go on without this partner. Now, I'm not here suggesting that you're going to live in the, wow, everything is perfect, I'm not going to feel any suffering anymore, I'm not going to be sad, or it's not that. It's you are now in this stage where you're going to start getting glimpses of hope again, and it's going to come through you, you're going to experience it, and then you're going to just keep that working through you. The beautiful thing is that you've now gone through all 7 stages of the grieving process. Hopefully you understand that, emotions come through us, we experience them. It's really important to just kind of ride the wave. You don't need to avoid your emotions, you just need to notice them. I know breakups are really, really difficult for all of us, and they're life-changing, of course. Helping to understand how the different stages play into what we're going through can help build a deeper understanding of what we're experiencing. And I'm wishing you a ton of success in your breakup, and everything is going to be just okay.
If you're listening to this and you're in an unhappy situation, I get it. I get how hard it is. One of the things that can help is